I'm sorry. I did. The other thing was I had to stop at CVS because I ran out of nose spray, which I haven't had for most of the day. So I am super cranky.
Oh no! Well, did you get your nose spray?
I did, and I got a big discount on it. So I feel like.
Well, there you go. That's a plus. Hopefully, we can cheer you up with a little podcast episode.
It was really good. This is my favorite one this year, and I know it was yours for two reasons. Because of fucking Alice Cooper walking in to that goddamn gala in that goddamn slow motion dress.
So much at the gala. Hold on, let me get my headphones. That helps.
Yeah, I was gonna use my headphones this time, and then I washed them accidentally this week.
Okay.
I was putting my watch in the next room too, because it's loud.
And all right, let me get another beer then while we're on the.
Okay, we're still getting set up slightly. Okay.
Okay. What's up?
Nothing. This has been a rough couple hours. I made plans with some of my staff members to go to the Rhode Island Comic-Con tomorrow day, and fucking.
This episode we just watched. Yeah. You pass on my message about the brass knuckles being fucking pussy ass. Go ahead, say it right now. Say it on the. Hold on, Jen just wants to say something.
I have a real problem with that guy from the Serpents. Like, if you're gonna do a beatdown in a gauntlet, really?
I was like,
low
no.
blow.
My question was like, were they inspired by MTV's The Gauntlet? Like, what was the Gauntlet? Where were all of these hazing rituals coming from? I was very confused.
It was very strange. It was very strange. It was just like, put those knuckles away. If you can't do it with your own fists, you're a wuss.
And a lot of them involved animals. Like you had the dog for the first thing, you had a snake for the other thing. It was like, what if a snake or dog is not available?
That's why they've had 3 hot dogs.
They keep one.
What if they're between hot dogs?
I haven't thought about where the gauntlet came from, but I'll tell you when the time comes. So wait, you were gonna go to Comic-Con. What happened?
We're still going.
You say it's been like a thing. You're saying it was stressful or something then?
I'm sorry, I'm reading this thing that she sent me. So, they were going, because we go to this Walking Dead thing every year, and they really wanted to go see these Walking Dead people who are going to be there. They canceled like 3 hours before they were supposed to be there today. So then we're still going, but like the whole reason we were going is yeah.
But I hate The Walking Dead, and I'm not a zombie person, so I don't understand the appeal. But that'd be like if I were going to like a convention to see somebody from Riverdale. I'd be pretty sad.
Do you know? But I was gonna surprise you by getting a picture with her, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. There is somebody who's there who's amazing, who I hope I get the chance to meet. Are you ready?
Woo!
Grunwald from Pretty Little Liars. It's Meg Foster. So, I mean, like, I'm not above it. I was, like, literally going to ask her to do this with me. Like have a psychic moment and take a picture like that for for you. So I got Nia Peoples. Gonna get Meg Foster next.
You and Nia were tight.
There's a lot of people I want to go see who are still going to be there because they're like they have like fucking 50 guests or something from all different things, and there's still Walking Dead people going. It's people who are on the show now. They're filming the finale, and like they wouldn't let them fly there because they ran over.
They're doing their work, yeah. What's more important, hanging out with people from Walking Dead or like actually getting a conclusion to the show?
I don't know what people would prefer. It's very much like a fan service show. So like people love, you know.
I've never been a zombie person myself, so.
I was trying to watch the show so I could talk to them about it tomorrow, and like it has been pretty bad since it came back. It's basically just like two warring factions who are having gunfights, and that's the whole show. It's like there's nothing interesting going on with the story really.
What about the zombies though? Aren't there still zombies, or is it just like still left alive?
There's still zombies, but they're not really a big factor in the plot right now.
Oh, well, that's kind of silly. What'd you have for dinner?
We went to Shake Shack because it was fast.
I like Shake Shack. Shake Shack. It's good.
He always Saturday he does Shake Shack or Chipotle, and I don't like Chipotle, so we went to Shake Shack because I was there with him. So I'm sorry about that too. Saturdays normally work for me. It's his roommate. It was in the military, and he's at this veterans thing in Provincetown this weekend. He goes every Veterans Day.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
David didn't have anybody to drive him, and it's like 10 degrees right now here.
No, it's so like, cold. Yeah, like you need a ride, man. You have to pick him up?
I had to drop him off, and then he gets out at 3:30 this morning. So after I get off with you, I'm going to try to sleep, wake up to pick him up. And he kept saying, I'm going to try to get a ride. I'm going to try to get a ride. And I was like, well, I got to wake up to make sure you're okay. Then I'm supposed to get up at 8 in the morning to fucking meet these bitches to go at.
Good God. All right, let's get this podcast on the road then. Because you have a lot on your plate, my friend.
It's just like, it's been a fucking like weekend, and I did nothing all day today, and we didn't know about this cancellation shit until like 7 tonight. So we've been trying to figure out what the fuck we're gonna do now, and we have kind of a rough plan. So
all right, well,
serious.
I'm sorry they canceled.
It's not your fault.
Through this great episode of Riverdale. All right. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Rose.
Are you ready to talk about Riverdale Chapter 18, When a Stranger Calls?
I'm ready to talk about nothing else.
It was a really good episode.
This is my favorite one so far. I feel like I might say that every week, though, but it definitely is my favorite episode of this year.
Feelings were coming through that I didn't even know I was going to have in relation to Riverdale. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. I would say it's definitely one of my favorites so far as well. Things are heating up. Should we just get into it?
Yeah, I'm putting it on in the background right now.
All right. Should I wait for you to catch in?
No, by all means.
Right, so
there was an amazing moment in this one. Let me just start when they say Sweet Pea's name, like Jughead says it, but it also sounds like he's calling him a Sweet Pea, but that's his name, you know?
Serpents are crazy. We're gonna get to the serpents.
Can we just start by saying I will never hear the Lollipop song quite the same way again. Am I right?
That's what they did that for. Okay. So Betty keeps getting phone calls from the Black Hood. For the Black Hood is the Lollipop song. Ringtone for the Black Hood, or is that the Black Hood somehow? Like, can you set your own ringtone so that when you call people, it plays like a song for you, like a theme song?
No, you definitely can. You can do it with text messages too, but I feel like that's Betty's default ringtone, or it's like what she gets when she gets an unknown caller. So it's not like because it's unknown, it's not assigned to
Yeah.
a contact, so she
She didn't
doesn't
set
know.
it for the Black Hood.
But my favorite part is they play the Lollipop song while they're also playing ominous score music, especially at the end, like the scary background music, and it's like both of them together are just great.
I'm 100% changing your ringtone to Lollipop on my phone.
Thank you. That's all I want.
Calls from the Black Hood are scary, man. It does remind me of our Pretty Little Liars days, getting these calls and for the phone from a scary figure with a weird voice changer. But this is better. This is so much better because he just gets right down to business. He's like, I'm gonna kill all your friends. Do what I say.
Yep.
Betty decides she's gonna do what he says. Do you think that was like a good move on her part to try and go down this road with the Black Hood? I was kind of like, why not tell somebody right away?
I don't know that Betty felt like she had any other choice. Yes.
We'll get what happens in the end at the end. But I guess at the beginning, she's these calls from the Black Hood and to try and he says you can't tell anybody, but he doesn't say you can't tell anybody. He says you can't tell Veronica and you can't tell Jughead. Like, great.
No,
I'll just tell Archie.
He does say something along the lines of "Don't tell anybody," which is why at the end he says you broke a rule.
But he doesn't say don't tell anybody. I think what he says is don't tell your mother, don't tell the police, don't tell Veronica, and don't tell Jughead. He doesn't say don't tell Archie. She's finding a loophole. Oh, and another thing that the Black Hood says to Betty is that he knows where her sister is, and he will carve her like a jack-o'-lantern. He's always threatening to carve everybody like a jack-o'-lantern. So Betty is concerned. She doesn't want her sister and her unborn twin niece or nephews to be hurt. She cares about people, that Betty Cooper. Her mom is on her all the goddamn time. This is the last thing she needs. Yeah. But Betty doesn't need a Black Hood harassing her. Her mother is on her plenty.
I'm getting closer to you, Rose, so that my mic will pick me up a little bit better.
Oh, and then Archie, so Betty tells Archie, listen, the Black Hood is calling me on the phone. So Archie's like, I'm going to help you. I'm in. He's not the brightest, but he is loyal. So they kind of are a team up in this episode.
Well, this is also interesting because we haven't had any Archie and Betty in the show together for a while.
Yeah.
So, and I did forget that, like, in the pilot, that was one of the highlights, was the two of them together for me. And they do, Archie is definitely elevated by being in scenes with her. It's much better. Plus, it's been, that was a nice change because even in this one, we get a Jughead Betty scene that is just so balls to the walls depressing, which is what they've all been lately, mainly. It's just been a bummer to see them together. And if you told me that this was going to be the episode where they broke up, like before the show came back, I would have been really upset about the idea of that. And I am less upset about the idea of it in its current format.
It was necessary. I mean, we were heading toward that since they got together, basically. We knew they were going to break up, especially if he was living on the South Side and going to Southside High. So it was coming. It's over with. It was really sad. The way they did it, we can talk about in a little while, but I found it very sad. I think sadder even than if they had just sat next to each other and said, I break up.
I love it when we allude to things we're going to talk about later, because it's like, if you think that you can turn this podcast off, the answer is no. You must keep going, because we're not even going to talk about what you want us to talk about until a future point. in this hour.
Indeed. Stay tuned after these messages.
Also, Sweet Pea has like a new, like, like a capo. I don't know what to call them in the gangs, right? But like a lieutenant dude who's like the only, other than Tony Topaz is the only other person who gets lines really from the Serpent side, and the big dude, the big adult dude who hangs out with all the teenage gang members. But the extra, I don't know that he gets given a name in this one, but he is hella cute. I just want to say that right now. He's like a little Italian boy. He looks
the
really
little
nice.
guy. Yeah. He has a little flat top. Yeah, I see him there.
Because there was that greaser guy, remember, who looked like he was straight out of Outsiders, who was in the first cup. He was in like the finale last year and then the other one. And it's like they keep just replacing. I hate that the Sweet Pea guy, who is 7 feet tall, is like our go-to gang member. I really hope that Jughead pushes him out and becomes a teenage gang leader. Yeah.
Why do you hate Sweet Pea so much? Why are you so mad at tall people?
He's like one of those characters that's created conflict. I listened to this very interesting NPR story about how tall people just have easier lives. And as a very short person, it just really got to me. I'm going to say that right now.
I don't know. Sweet Pea looks like my cousin a little bit. And so I don't have a bad feeling about him because he looks like my relative who is also very tall.
Betty's eyes. Betty is doing so much work with her eyes in this episode. Like, so her eyes are amazing. She always looks like she's about to come to tears. Sometimes you get actual tears.
She's got a lot going on. So the major 3 things happening in this episode, let's just lay it out right at the beginning, are Betty's getting these calls from the Black Hood and taking instructions from the Black Hood. And the Black Hood is basically trying to drive a wedge between her and everybody she knows and depends on. So that's one piece, and Archie's helping her out with that. Jughead is on the south side, and he's basically realized that the Serpents are going to pipe bomb the newspaper, which that doesn't make any sense. And Jughead says that, but he's like, oh, I see. You people are just crazy, and not crazy, but dumb. And you're just interested in creating chaos and violence. So unless you have a leader who is going to direct your attentions in strategic ways, you're going to just cause a lot of trouble. So he decides that he is going to join the Serpents to try and wrangle the situation. Then also we have a gala this time around.
Wait, is that
the lodges?
So you feel that Jughead joined the gang because of the pipe bomb situation, or?
Yeah, I think the pipe bomb was like, well, the Archie stuff too. So they were having fights with Archie and Reggie and everybody. And then they're like, we're going to pipe bomb the newspaper. And right after that, it's like, I'd like to be a Serpent, please. That seemed like his tipping point.
Maybe, but I do think that Jughead has been trying to straddle this, like, I'm not one, but I am one for a while. And it's just not.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really working. I think he recognizes that. And it's not like he's going back to school with everybody else. So I think he's just adapting to his environment. I think he's recognizing, because he doesn't seem like he's going to go in there and change policy, but it is, Tony really says the person who used to keep the peace here was your dad, which gives us a lot more perspective about, I hate calling him FP, but FP.
That's his name. His name is FP.
Yeah. Well, that's an abbreviation of whatever his actual name is.
Forsyth P. Jones.
Ugh. So
well, look, that's his name.
I know, but it's a terrible name. Anyway, FP, right, kept the peace. And so I don't know, like, is that he's going to try to keep the peace too? I don't know. He just has so much to do in this one in order to get in that I guess that's the focus, right? So.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what he tells Tony later. Again, we can come to it. But the third piece is that there's a gala that the lodges are hosting
for investors. They need capital for their development project, which we
Exactly.
found out is luxury apartments and luxury shopping where the drive-in used to be. That looks like where it's with primarily, because I don't know, did they ever say what it was, what they were building before?
They said, we've talked about this, and I asked you that question, and then you told me that it was going to be apartments and shopping. So I guess they did, because you seem to know that at some point in the past.
They must have mentioned it in the episode where like the teenage construction crew was breaking ground.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So they have like investors coming in from out of town, from New York, people coming in from New York to see their development and invest in it. That's weird. I mean, I'm not an investor in developments, but this just doesn't seem accurate to me, but maybe it is. I don't know. But the important thing there is that it gets Veronica's old friend, Nikki St. Clair, into town. And he creates some issues for our young ladies this time around.
It's like he is a character and brings a plot line that is straight out of a Gossip Girl episode. I'm just gonna say it right now.
100%. He just comes from he just comes right out of, what was that school they went to in Gossip? What was it called?
No, it had a very long name, but like they don't say the school's name that often.
It's Constance. The girls' school was Constance.
The boys had a school.
The boys also had a school. Let's see. It was St. Jude's.
It was basically the same school though. So
it was adjoining. I just remembered the Constance one. All right. So
I just noticed their luggage says St. Clair on it in gold. It's so stupid. So for all intents and purposes, he is like the male Veronica, except we find out he's a lot more of a creep.
Yeah, well, he's still bad. You know, Veronica's reformed, but he has not. He has not been influenced by Riverdale yet.
How bad can you be at 16? Can I just say?
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Murder people when they're 16. You listen to My Favorite Murder. Some people are really bad.
Yeah,
and he is really bad in this. He does something very bad. Very, very, very bad.
Well, I think something bad will befall him soon.
We'll get to that one too. So Jughead is going through these trials, I guess you could call it, to enter the Serpents. And they start out goofy, right? Where these guys come in snake masks in the middle of the night to give him a dog to take care of. That's just silly. That's just fun. I like that dog.
Yeah, I do too. I'm at the part, so we don't get half naked Archie in this one, but we do have him lifting weights in his room for really no reason, only exploitation purposes.
No, he's really trying to bulk up. Archie's trying to bulk up so he can help Betty. He's really trying hard to help Betty, and Betty has a lot of hard problems here because the has sent her an email with her mom in the newspaper for a crime or something of that nature. I didn't really see what it was. Did you really see what it was?
She was arrested. I don't know if we really, we have to go back and read the headline to see what she was arrested for. But do you know what he called the file name of it was called shame in capital letters .jpg. That's what it was.
Shame.jpg.
Yeah. He called it shame in capital letters. That's what he named the file.
I love this guy. It just says Southside teen arrested and released on bail. That's the headline. That's the headline of the newspaper. This is a slow news town. A 16-year-old girl is arrested and released on bail. And she couldn't have done something that bad. She was released on bail.
I feel like
somebody, they wouldn't have let her out.
It's never a slow news town when Alice Cooper is on the case.
Well, now that's probably why she became a reporter. She was like, you can put me on the front page under my terms or never again. So this apparently, yeah, go ahead.
The part when Jughead has to yell the rules in the bar while the other guy is yelling at him made me intensely uncomfortable.
Well, I
Can I
think
just
that was
say?
the point. They had to make him uncomfortable.
If I was in that bar just having like a beer at the bar, I would have been really, really confused.
I feel like it's a serpent's bar though. Anybody who hangs out there knows what happens. It probably happens all the time. Oh, you're right.
Why is there a blue and gold student paper at Pops?
Well, everybody reads the blue and gold. And plus all the students go to Pops before school.
You just said it was a slow news town.
They have it delivered to their house and then they go read it at Pops.
You said it was a slow news town, and then it's like everybody's reading the blue and gold. Anyway, I do like how Alice rips it. I forgot that part.
Oh my god. Yeah, so Betty publishes this old news article that her mother was arrested and her mother was a serpent. Basically is like the big issue. And her mother is just fucking pissed as shit. And she's like she feels betrayed, I guess, by Betty. I don't know. She's thinking when this comes out.
Do you think in the scene where Archie and Veronica are being pressured to do drugs with Nikki, were you really concerned for like a second that it was going to become some sort of weird three-way? Because they
wait a second. Wait a second. We're not at the drugs part yet. Are you at the drugs part right now? You really want to talk about the drugs part?
There's a drug part early where he gives them cocaine. Do you remember that?
Okay.
There's many drug parts.
Hold on, Nikki, for a second. We're going to come back to Nikki. Let's talk about Alice Cooper for one. Just quickly, we'll just run through Alice Cooper's situation. So Betty publishes this, and her parents are like, why did you publish this in the newspaper? And Alice is like, because you're trying to get revenge on me. Betty's like, no, it's just I want to read. I don't know. It just has to be true. You're always holier than thou. It's not fair. Like, you're just like, you're not as great as you say. And it seems like the hood is trying to make Betty, like, put Betty in these positions where she has to, like, reveal these inner feelings that she has and then deal with the consequences, I guess.
No, I disagree. I think he's trying to modify her behavior. Like, do not hang out with this person. Go against your mother publicly. It's things that, and then give me a name at the end, right? Are all things to a certain like the name thing and the going after Betty's mom thing end up being things that Betty was sort of going to do anyway, like wanted to do, but was pushed into doing.
Right.
And then apparently wants to separate her and isolate her, which is why he's doing this weird friend thing, or he doesn't approve of the people that Betty hangs out with. I think we need a good payoff for why the Black Hood is so focused on Betty in this particular episode. I think it's her dad too.
Yeah.
At this point.
Who the fuck else is going to care who your boyfriend is?
Well, I'm also thinking about who had the information for
about Alice.
Polly being away, and then who would have known that Archie was in the house, and the dad would have known all of that.
Exactly, so. And he knew that the mom was at work. Everything that the guy is saying, her dad can know. It's pretty gross and weird. I don't think that's how you should treat your daughter, but I do think it's her dad.
If it is he, but I think that this episode made it like we are the same, but made it sound like they're related, and unless it's the ghost of Jason Blossom, who's come back.
I don't think that's true.
The only other thing I could think of is that Kevin Keller is putting in green contact lenses, and he's doing this because he was so pissed off about Betty telling her dad that he hooked up with gay dudes in the woods, that he is the Black Hood, because he really is back to being a background character that gets no storylines or nothing is going on.
He's having fun. He's having a good time at that party.
He was really, really having fun with Cheryl, and where the hell did that come from? So, but you know what? Guess who comes to her aid the minute that she's roofied on a
You
bed?
fucking know. We will get to that. We will get to that. All right. So
the minute I saw that, the minute I saw her run over, I was just like, oh my God, I can feel from here the boner that Rose got, like over the internet. So big.
It's not a boner. It's more of like a romantic, warm feeling in my chest.
I'm sorry. The boner was when Alice Cooper arrived at the gala. You're right.
Yeah, she looked amazing.
She really did look great.
To just close out Alice's whole arc here for this episode, she does not hide from these rumors that she was in the Serpents or any of this. She dresses like a serpent and fucking shows up at a party like a badass and walks in just owning the place in snake print clothing with a snake necklace. And I love that she just like had that to bring when it was necessary. I love Alice Cooper. Still one of my faves. I hope it is Betty's dad. And then her mom finds out that he's Black Hood and kills him.
It was interesting though, in that they sort of reestablished the dad. He's in a lot more scenes in this one. And then like Alice is disgraced so she doesn't go to that gala, and he starts telling people that she's not going to be there, and it seems like they're not getting along right now. That's the sense I got from that little scene.
Yeah, and then when she shows up, she's like, "Shove it, Hal." She's not into him. I can't imagine them having sex, let alone twice. I wonder why they got together. That's weird. They don't seem to like each other at all.
I think they did at one point. I think it's been a steady decline since high school for them.
I guess it's rare that people get married in high school and then it turns out okay. People change. Serpents shed their skin. They haven't used that before.
Jughead does not suffer from his dialogue problem that he has had in past episodes. He is very much talking like a normal person. And then even Cheryl, who gets the weirdest, bizarre lines in the whole episode, is still, I think, talking. And I will say, I hate characters who are created for conflict, like Sweet Pea. And I should hate Nikki for that reason. I mean, I don't like Nikki because I think you're not supposed to like Nikki, right? But I don't mind him as a plot device in this episode in order to bring our characters.
No, he's a likable, terrible person, which is what they hired him to do. To go back to your comment about Jughead's vocabulary, though, he walks in and says that Betty is a sight for sore eyes, and then tells her that he's feeling unmoored. You feel like that's regular high school vocabulary?
No, the unmoored, I'll give you the unmoored is probably his worst thing. The part when they're in the booth, though, and Betty is crying is so heartbreaking. This is like when Lily is just she shines in this one so much. Like she's so good in it. And it's, I just, like, I love all of these people. Like, we love them so much, Rose. But I think we've always had an affinity towards Betty. And it has been a while since we've been reminded of how great she is. And this whole episode is just like a love letter. But also Cheryl coming in. The way Cheryl walks into rooms 1,000 times, yes.
She can never do it wrong. But yeah, you're right. Betty is terrific. And it's kind of like Betty is like the central character of season 2, or definitely a more central. She's always been a central character. Yeah. Obviously, one of the big 3. But to me, she's like the protagonist I really care about. You know what I mean? I want to know how Betty Cooper is going to change from the first pilot episode to the finale of this. I want to know that journey the most. I care the most about that. Which is interesting because I feel like in Archie comics, Betty's like the old dependable one. Like you don't think of her as like the one who goes on a journey, but here she is. So I'm excited to see what that will be. But it's really sad because in the booth, she and Jughead are kind of saying goodbye, and they kind of know they're not in the same place anymore, regardless of Black Hood bullshit. But they don't really say it. They imagine that they could get around it, but of course they cannot. Let's talk about Nikki St. Clair, your baddie, your friend. This good time guy who rolls into town.
He's no friend of mine. He's Veronica's friend. She's the one who's down with him.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. But that will be revealed. First, he seems really nice and fun.
When he shows up, he's kind of a piece of shit. He keeps talking about how sexy she is. And I love the cuts to Archie where he just looks like he's going to cry. He says nothing. I feel like the red circle were where his balls used to be because he has none. Even when he is talking to Betty, like all aggression has just been used up from Archie. He doesn't freak out about the Black Hood like he was freaking out for the past couple episodes. That's a very weird character 180 that I don't like. And
well, he's just trying to figure out how to play it. Like, he's not a real strategic guy. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, I can go out and hit people with a bat. That's cool. But now they're like, no, Archie, don't hit anybody with a bat. And he's like, well, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll try and support my ladies, but like he doesn't know how. That's why he's pumping iron. He doesn't know how to be subtle or strategic. And that does not work well with him with Nikki St. Clair. That's why he like looks for an opening. He's like, am I supposed to be like, I'm upset, but like am I supposed to be cool? I don't know. He doesn't know how to do it in this way. So Nikki has a party at his hotel at the 5 Seasons. That's how good of a hotel it is.
Yeah, I have 2 things to say too before we get started. So part of the reason why any of this is even happening, right, is because Veronica's parents say Nikki has his father's ear, so you have to show him a good time. Were you slightly concerned her parents were pimping her out? Because it sounded a little bit like that. And then of course I knew that we were going to go down this road, so there was that one thing. And my other favorite thing that has happened is when Cheryl Blossom hears Nikki's name for the first time. Do you know what her response is?
No, go ahead, please.
No, that's a name I can get behind. Your party starts at 10. By the way, Cheryl was not invited to the party. No. Oh, your party starts at 10. I'll be there at 11. What? Listen, I want her everywhere, every day.
Cheryl's invited to any party that the Pussycats are invited to. She just goes where they go. Anytime they show up, she's fucking there. So she was going regardless. She's just trying to make it work for her. She's the best. Imagine if you went to a town and you were there to see Veronica Lodge and things were going how they went with your old friend Ronnie. And then Cheryl Blossom showed up. That's the best town in the world. Ugh, I hate that guy, Nicky. I hate him. He really didn't understand who Cheryl was. Like, she's the worst person to cross in the way that he crossed her. That was a fucking bad move. But he'll find out. Nicky at his party tells everybody. Yeah, let's talk about the party. Okay, so everybody goes to the party. It's a party in a hotel room that looks like really dark. I don't like the lighting in that scene.
I'm gonna say it's a suite.
I don't like this hotel. I mean, I understand it's in Riverdale. It has to be the kind of hotel Riverdale would have, but it sort of looks like a weird bus station funeral home. I don't know. I don't like the...
It did look like a funeral home. I'll give you that. I do think that it was a little bit like that.
But Nikki's like, let's party. So he breaks out the jingle jangle provided by Reggie, who's there. Reggie and Josie are getting cozy.
Who invited Reggie? First question. Who?
For the fucking drugs. Nikki did for the drugs.
Nikki's been there for 5 seconds. How does he even know? So
some people don't know that stuff. He probably asked Veronica.
Why would Veronica tell him that? Veronica should say there's no drugs. But
everybody knows.
This continues the trend of Jingle Jangle being referenced in every episode. So we know it's important, Rose. It's important.
What's behind the jingle jangle? But you're right. Jingle jangle is supposed to give you boners, right? Like, this has been covered in the show. It's a sex drag a little bit.
I think it's like 2 things, right? Jingle Jangle is basically like a very sloppy version of speed and ecstasy at the same time, because it does seem like Veronica and Archie are like just sort of nuzzling each other while sort of dancing, and it looks like Josie and Reggie are doing the same. And I know Moose and I forget that young lady's name. Midge. Yeah. See, that's why I have a problem with it. So they took some to like get horny, right? So it's like this weird like ecstasy horny drug, but everybody seems very energetic while also being down. I'm sure it's like cocaine too. I think it's like a mix of a bunch of different things and probably bath salts.
It's just its own thing.
The blink and you'll miss it 10 seconds that we get of Kevin's face while Cheryl is just full up throwing her hair as she bends the thing is the best part of that party.
I agree.
My favorite part.
I agree. The party is where Cheryl's hair is. And if you imagine if you were a young gay teen and you were at a party where somebody was like, oh, here's some drugs. And then you got to spend your drugs time just sitting watching Cheryl Blossom toss her hair. That's like totally entertaining. Like, it's no walk in the gay sex woods, but
half a minute, I was really hoping that they were going to establish Nikki as a love interest for Kevin.
Ooh,
and have him be gay. But that was not the direction. They went for like a full-on thing. Or it was like he presents himself as
this player guy.
This like player guy who's like who was trying to get with Veronica, but then him and Kevin like hook up at the end of it. I thought would have been interesting, but they didn't go that route, so
no. Everybody's having a grand old time at the party except for Betty. Betty is having a terrible time. She's not doing any jingle jangle because what she has come there to do is break up her friendship with Veronica per the instructions of the Black Hood. And so she just takes an opportunity to do it, basically telling Veronica what a bad person she is. What do you think about that confrontation that Betty engaged in?
I mean, when you go back and you like see or hear or read, in this case, like what Betty says, I mean, it's sort of a dramatized version of it, but she's not saying anything that's not true.
No, it's the same thing in the confrontation with her mother. These are things that she is thinking that are underneath the surface. And the Black Hood puts her in a position where they come out. She like uses it to do the Black Hood's bidding. And she does think that Veronica manipulates people. She does resent Veronica for being, I don't know, she thinks she's a bad person underneath, I guess. But I don't really think she thinks that. Honestly, I don't. I'm taking it back. No, I don't think she thinks that about Veronica. I think she thinks that that's what other people think about Veronica. The privilege, yes. But Betty's not like underprivileged, but she has sympathy for the jugheads of the world, I suppose. So I think she thinks Veronica is privileged and a little clueless and sheltered, but I don't think she really thinks Veronica's a bad person.
No.
It sucks if somebody tells you you're a bad person. That's one of my like fears in life, thinking, not fears, but that's like one of the things I don't, not that people are telling me I'm a bad person all the time, but I'm always wondering if I'm a bad person.
You're a good person.
I hope so. So far, most people say that, but I always wonder if maybe I'm secretly a bad person. And then, well, see, but that's how, I guess that's my check on myself. Maybe I would be if I didn't ask that question. I don't think Veronica's a bad person either. But that party doesn't go well after that. Oh, actually, it goes fine after that. It sounds like everybody else just parties, and then Veronica and Nikki are alone at the end of the party. And Nikki's like, all right, and now you give me some sexual attention. Veronica's like, no, I'm with Archie. But Nikki does not want to take no for an answer.
He full on pretty much assaults her, and she shuts it down.
Yeah, I mean, he goes into her, and she shoves him away, and then he doesn't stop, and she says no, and he doesn't stop. And he's like, well, but you're supposed to show me a good time. And why don't you, you know, do something bad? Like, I don't want to do this deal. And she just slaps him in the face. It's a no from Veronica. He's there holding his face. Why is it that this child's word counts so much for the investment in their development?
Wait, the word count?
No, why would his father decide where to invest money based on what his son says? Like, why does Nikki St. Clair's dad give a shit what his son thinks about the Sodale development based on what girls in that town fuck him? Like, what the fuck? This is a terrible way to do business.
This might not surprise you, but it turns out that one time he was trying to make a business decision and he was stumped. This is Mr. St. Clair. And then Nikki roofied him and then raped him. And then he was able to very clearly make a decision. So he was so grateful that his son helped him with this problem that he just now, he's also slightly afraid of him because that's how rapey this kid is, that he just pretty much always does what he says.
Brian, your fan fiction is very upsetting.
I don't write fan fiction, and there's many reasons why. But how about this? How about this? Let's make it a little bit more. No, this is still pretty bad. But Nikki is like, tells his dad, I will do less raping if you invest in the things I want you to invest your money in. And his dad's like, okay.
Doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently it's a thing. And the next day they're at the gala. The lodges look terrific. I have to say, the lodges, they're all very attractive and they dress great.
Also, Hiram, they do establish that Hiram and Mr. Cooper know each other. They say been a long time.
Yeah, I guess they all knew each other from back in the olden times. Riverdale, pre-Riverdale.
I do like the scene between Hermione and Fred.
Yeah, Hermione goes over to Fred and is like, hey, we're partners. Come, like, be a real partner. Come up on the stage and let's do this thing. But as they're talking, they are interrupted by the thunder that you must feel. The soundtrack goes crazy with this thunder song. To Alice Cooper walking in a serpent garb.
Her face is amazing. Like, she's like dumb hot. It's pretty much how it goes, right? It's like dumb hot.
Yeah, she knew it. She knows it. She's like, yeah, I wear sweaters all the time, but I don't fucking have to. And everybody looks at her and she just like brushes her husband aside and he's like, damn. I am the Black Hood. Apologizes to Veronica. He says he didn't mean it. Sorry. He has a drug problem. He's been in rehab. Let's not be upset. And Veronica, to keep the peace, decides to take this opportunity to be friends with him again and gives him a ginger ale.
Which, by the way,
do you think that she really didn't?
The minute while he's apologizing, that's when he looks at Cheryl and essentially decides that he's going to rape her. So, I mean, what? He's just he's the worst.
He is the worst because he doesn't even try to have a regular attempt at
also,
Cheryl.
I feel like Cheryl would have like at least gone to third base with him, like within the next hour.
Yeah, she seemed to want it. So, I'm not saying she would have had like full on, intercourse with him, but
I said third base.
She seemed interested in him. No, I agree. Like she seemed interested in him. I don't know. I mean, again, it's just like about a power dynamic, I guess, which is obviously what we see in the news all the time these days. But yeah, he doesn't even try to seduce Cheryl in a normal fashion. He just straight up roofies her. Very upsetting. when I saw that happen, I was upset. But Cheryl Blossom is not the one to do that to. He really picked the wrong girl, honestly.
Yeah, when she gets mad, at the end, I just don't think Nikki should have been on his way out of town after this. Things are not going to end well for him.
She burned down her own house, Nikki, into her own mother's face, and then was like, "I hold."
Who's recovered nicely, by the way. She was.
Blossoms always, Blossoms look terrific all the time. You just miss them slightly; they perk right up. But yeah, not the one to tangle with. Not to mention, Cheryl has a lot of people on her side, especially after her brother, her father killed himself. I think a lot of people have more sympathy for Cheryl than they used to. She's still a pain in their ass. Not always the most likable person. But I think people understand that she's not that likable because people haven't always been really kind to her in her own family, and she's got issues at home. So I think people try and stick up for her, like, even though she's not their favorite, she's part of the group.
Listen, she's the resident it girl. Okay? That's how she references herself here. Just respect.
Oh my God. While they're at a gala, again, I think I have a problem with the whether it's the day or the night. I thought it was the day at the gala, but simultaneously, Jughead is undergoing his last, or he's preparing for his last trial for the serpents. Tony warns him. She's like, the last trial is no joke. It's no joke, Jughead.
I'm also gonna say,
yeah,
there's this piece of, because Tony's reciting the unity thing at the serpent thing. Tony clearly is a serpent, because I was also confused about this in her first episode, is that how involved is this young lady in it, because she seems like she is more warning Jughead about it, and like, in a weird way, she's this voice of reason character in this. She's almost serving as like Jughead's conscience a little bit, like
do you really want to do this? Is this really
want to? Yeah, like, this is, you still have time to not do this. You did it up to this point, but you don't have to do the last thing. And there's something about that where I think, like, Nikki, Tony has been written as this almost very two-dimensional character. She's obviously a romantic interest for him that they established pretty early, the anti-Betty, if you will. But I really like Tony. I really hope she sticks around for a while. Whether or not her and Jughead get together is not something I'm concerned about, I guess, at this point. I like her a lot. I think that she is showing us a different side of the serpents. Like, I wish more of the serpents were like her and less like Sweet Pea.
Yeah. You really hate Sweet Pea. Yeah. I actually like Tony a lot more in this episode than I have before.
Agreed, yeah.
She seems like a normal person, kind of. She just seems like a regular chick, and she thinks about what's happening around her, and she's probably a serpent because that's like the choice. She didn't really have much of a choice, so she makes the best of it, and she, gets some interaction out of it with people protecting her and stuff. But yeah, she wants more out of life, and I like that. So Jughead, he passed his second trial, which we didn't mention, which is sticking his hand in a snake cage. But the snake wasn't really venomous, so it wasn't that scary. But the final trial...
Had its venom glands removed, Rose.
Who removed them? The final trial
against the big guy. The big guy did.
The final trial is a gauntlet where they all just punch him in the stomach. It reminded me of Xena Warrior Princess. Xena goes through a gauntlet in the pilot episode.
Some of them punched him in the face. He got punched in the face too.
He just gets punched a lot. That's basically what's happening to Jughead. Meanwhile, it's all set. This is when I was like, oh my God, I love this show so much. Josie and the Pussycats singing Out Tonight from Rent.
And that's what this is. That's how it
happening?
transitions from day to night. Is right there.
I
Is once they
guess.
say, I want to go out tonight, then it's night, right? So
Yeah. Yes. I love that she's singing Rent. I love that it's a song that references there's like cat references embedded in it. I love that they're like, let's just search for cat songs. And then this is one that popped up, and Josie was just like a fan of the musical. This is all happening to Out Tonight. Meanwhile, Nikki takes Cheryl up to the bedroom. He has roofied her. She's losing control of herself. And he's like, perfect, now's the time when I'm going to rape you. And he just straight up leads her away from the party. But he does not account for the fact that her bestie, Josie, always has eyes on Cheryl and notices him leading Cheryl away from the party and Cheryl like stumbling along.
incorrect.
So,
Incorrect.
well, Veronica's
Veronica's the one who notices, because I think Veronica still smells something. But to Josie and the Pussycats' credit, they all go with her, which I really like. I like that.
They both notice.
They sing
And
songs
they
together. They sing songs together, and they fight the man together. That's what I say.
Oh my God. So yeah, all the Pussycats, including Veronica, who's like a sometimes Pussycat, as they just storm off the stage and follow Nikki and Cheryl upstairs to his hotel room. And Josie runs to Cheryl. Again, I do think Josie and Cheryl are in love, and I'm not going to ever back down from that. Josie runs to Cheryl and makes sure she's okay, and they comfort her. While the Pussycats and Veronica, Melody, Valerie, and Veronica just start beating the shit out of Nikki St. Clair, kicking him. Just fucking kicking his ass.
In heels, no less.
Oh my God, it was so good. I loved it. I didn't know. I mean, I knew they were going to get up there, and I hoped they were going to stop this attack on Cheryl, but I didn't know they were just going to fucking kick his ass. That was terrific. You can't beat 3 ladies just wailing on a would-be rapist. Really a great...
To be fair, I'm positive Nikki has probably done that in New York.
Oh, 100%.
Probably more than one person.
But he did not. They're just kicking him with their fucking heels.
They just really go for it.
Limp. They just did not. No, you cannot do that. You do not fuck with these ladies. You don't. It's not okay. I hope everybody sees a lesson in this.
There are 2 things I'd like to point out before we move on to the house. Yeah. To the house in the woods that Betty thinks is a good idea to go to. P.S. It's not. Is we didn't talk at all about Jughead's white trash look. And we did in his trailer park. I'm going to show my guns and wear a really tight shirt. And we also did not talk. The other thing I'd like to just point out is it was nice to know that Veronica's still a pussycat. Is that wasn't just a one-off thing, that she still is going to perform and sing with them. And she's like full-fledged member still. And I like that.
It's fine. I mean, I'd rather have her be a pussycat than have them bring up the Archies. So that's fine. If they need if Veronica needs to perform in her life, she's fine. I will never get over it. This show just giving me Josie running to Cheryl's side. And then while the rest of them just beat a man with their shoes to a Rent song. Like when I was young, I couldn't have even dreamed that we'd be at this point. Things are happening in the world, but we're moving forward in many ways. And this is one of them.
You're so pro-violence, Rose.
When it's beating up a rapist, yeah. 100%. You reap what you sow, motherfucker.
Okay, so if you're getting calls from, let's just say, criminal of any kind. And they're like, the next step is, I want you to go to this scary house and put on a hood, like I put on a hood, and then stare at yourself in the mirror while I'm being a creep. Maybe don't do that. Maybe like don't do it.
First of all, she seems to like trust the Black Hood, right? They've been playing this game where if she does what he says, then she can ask a question. So she asks, like, well, I know who's under the hood. And the hood's like, yeah, don't you feel closer to me? Like, we feel so, like, good together. And it's, like, awesome. And I just, Betty, she goes there, she puts the hood on. Why would you do that? You could be being framed. They could have, like, a police person there. I don't know. And where does everybody get all these hoods? Now this is, like, the 19th hood that has appeared in this show. Why do they have so many hoods? And the eye holes are like cut out. So it's just a black thing with no eye holes, and then they cut out. Oh, what is that?
Those those eye holes were not very symmetrical. But what I think happened was that somebody bought some fabric dye. They just dyed one of the red circle hats and just turned it into.
But I still don't know where all these hoods come from. I still don't know. Why would they have hoods with no eyes?
I don't know. It sort of looks like what you get, like a winter hat, and it's like really big.
It's not. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, okay, what if it was a hat that, like, then you cut eye holes in, but it's too big, too long. It's so crazy. What kind of fabric are these hoods? Like, it would make so much more sense if it was more like a sackcloth hood, not like a knit. You know, like it was like a real.
The fact that this black hood exists at all is not your problem. It's the material that the hood is made out of that we're focusing on.
Yes, I object. I also object to Betty putting on the fucking hood and looking in the mirror, and then the black hood's like, I just want you to know that we're the same. Which is why it's her dad. Who else is it going to be?
I don't know. I don't see that it could be anybody else. At this point.
Betty finally gets scared by looking at herself in the mirror as the Black Hood and is like, oh shit, I'm scared, and runs away.
Hey, to be fair, I think she was scared the whole time. I'm going to say
I guess that's what he was using, yeah, but
she's terrified. It gets amped up to a visible level where she runs out of the house and is still, well, then she calls Archie. Her first instinct is to call Archie, or Archie calls her to let her know that Cheryl got attacked.
Yeah. Why does Betty need to go over to the Pembroke when Cheryl got attacked? I don't know why they'd need Betty there. Well, I guess she's a reporter. Maybe she wants to report on it. Oh, Cheryl, after the attack, Josie is just cuddling her and holding her and just stroking her. It's adorable. They love each other so much. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if we'll ever see it on the television. I don't know if Josie will ever get to talk, but I love their love. They have a love. Veronica snuggles her too, but not really interested in that part of the snuggle. I'm going to go ahead and say Josie doesn't get to talk enough. Nope. And I don't think that it's great that you have only like 3 Black people on your show and then you don't let them talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know they have a lot of characters, but they can just clear a little space and let Josie like get a sentence out. That would be great. That would be terrific. I'd really appreciate it. That's all I'm saying. I'll leave it at that. Because she seems like she could be a good character. Oh, wait, we didn't talk about something very important.
What?
Before Jughead goes through the gauntlet, he gets a visit from Archie.
Yeah. That's what the debut of the white trash look of Jughead.
Well, do you want to talk about what Archie was there to discuss?
Well, I mean, there's more of it because she tells Archie that there's gonna have to has to cut Veronica out, and that's why she was being like that at the Jingle Jangle party, and then now she's got to cut Jughead out. She's got to break up with him, and she'll try to fix things down the road.
Yeah. She's got to, though. She's got to. The Black Hood says it has to be. So Archie goes over there to break up. Like, she sends Archie. She can't do it. She can't do it. So Archie goes over, and because he comes across Jughead, like, going into his serpent initiation, he's like, you know what? You're not fucking good for Betty anyway, so fuck you. So he just kind of relishes it a little more, I think, than he would have otherwise.
Sorry, I think Archie is justifiably mad that the guy who decked him in the face is, like, apparently hanging out with Jughead, like they're, buddies. So he's mad when he sees that guy show up. And then obviously doesn't want Jughead becoming a serpent either. Archie is kind of against that.
Yeah. So. So that was sad. I thought that was sad because now there's not only a rift between Betty and Jughead, there's also a rift between Archie and Jughead.
I think it's fair to say that Jughead was going to, the minute he decided he was going to be a serpent, that this rift was just going to
widen.
Yeah.
But he's making a new friend in Tony Topaz, who apparently can also do tattoos. I bet you it's her that defanged the snake.
Could be. Topaz is my birthstone.
For sure.
So.
Are you going to dye your hair pink like her?
No. It wouldn't look good.
I'm sure. But you've got lovely curls.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jughead and Tony are getting closer, and they smooch a little bit after she gives him a snake tattoo.
She smooches him.
Yeah. Well, she hears that Betty is out of the picture. As soon as she hears Betty's out of the picture, she's like, great, it's on. So I kind of respect that about her. I like that she didn't move in until, his decision had been made. And it's fine. I mean, I'm sure they'll go down that road for a while. It's not, I liked her more. I don't care if she gets with Jughead, like you said. I just liked her more as an individual.
Oh, I'm sure Jughead will go down on her. Booyah! I will say this about Juggy. He looks like he would spend some time pleasing a lady. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he would. I feel like all these guys would. Even Reggie probably do a bad job, but I don't think that they're evolved young men. They understand everybody's pleasure.
Here's my impression of Reggie, like about to get busy with a lady. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yo, I think you're pretty, and I want to do stuff with my mouth to your mouth and to other parts. You down with that?
That's Reggie?
Yeah.
He does not have that kind of an accent.
No.
He does not have that kind of an accent.
He does. He talks with this weird, like, frat bro. Like, yo, hey, what's up? We ain't gonna play football? No. Not cool, dude. Sign the letter. That's how he talks.
Well, Archie did sign the letter, so I guess he's a real great orator and very convincing.
The AV Club described him as, like, he looks like a young Matt Dillon, and I'm like, I don't want to say that.
Well, I think that guy he's handsome. I have no problem with the guy. I don't think he looks like a young Matt Dillon. I'm looking up Matt Dillon right now. He does.
Like young pictures. He has a weird thing, like Matt Dillon had a weird thing with the sides of his mouth, where he had a very square jaw, and this guy does too.
So
but you haven't heard that? Listen to Reggie, and the next time he talks for more than like 2 lines. He's like, yo, bros, we gotta, like, get some jingle jangle, get this party going. He talks like that. He does.
No, I believe you. I guess I believe you. I just didn't really hear it. What's the actor's name who plays him? I know they changed the actors, but what's the current guy?
I can't remember what his name is.
He was Ross Butler and now is played by who? What the fuck is your name, dude?
I know
Charles
he was.
Melton.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And he was on an episode.
I mean, I see what they're saying about the Matt Dillon, but I think this guy's cuter than Matt Dillon.
He's definitely way more like ripped too. And I will say he was in an episode of American Horror Story where you see his butt, which I know I've said before, and I hope everybody looked at that butt because it was a good butt.
No, I think he's doing okay with Reggie.
Yeah, I think so too. I like that Josie, but I have a feeling like she likes redheads.
Josie's just like gotta do what she's gotta do. You know what I mean? She loves Cheryl. Reggie's there. It's all fine. She's gotta maintain her image. She reminds me of a character from another television show that thought a lot about maintaining her image, also loved to sing and wear tight outfits and hug her very best lady friends super hard. That's all I'm saying.
Gem and the Holograms?
No, I wasn't thinking of Gem and the Holograms. I don't think anybody's...
Are you talking about when the girls from Saved by the Bell started that girl gang?
Yes, I'm talking about Hot Sunday. That's what I'm talking about.
Sunday.
No.
They were the Rage at Max. Yeah.
They were what?
They were the Rage at Max's. I remember. I'm talking about Saved by the Bell still.
I know Saved by the Bell like the back of my hand. I watch Saved by the Bell every day at 5:05 and 5:35 while I did my goddamn homework. So
that was a cultural thing because I did that crap too. But Saved by the Bell was good. It would be amazing if Jughead just had Screech's robot out of nowhere. And they're like, they don't explain it. You just see like Screech's robot. And you're like, what?
What was your opinion of Saved by the Bell Hawaiian style when they went to Hawaii?
I'm a fan of all of it. I even liked the college years, that one season of it. It's not as good as when they were in school. But no, I didn't mind Hawaii.
I was a real at the time I didn't really understand this, and even now I really don't, but I was a huge fan of Jesse Spano. That's why I watched the show. Like when Jesse was there, I was there. Jesse and Slater, OTP.
But Jesse also, like, you had to love Jesse because Jesse felt like very strongly about her beliefs, and that was very powerful when you're young, is to see somebody who's like that committed.
Yeah.
Anything.
That must be what it was. It was her commitment to the environment and feminism. I don't know. I just really liked her in Slater. I don't find her attractive personally, like as an individual. But she really brought a weirdness to that show that I think really elevated it.
And when she called him a macho pig, it was great every time.
She called him a pig all the time. That's really mean. Like, that was really terrible.
He really was. He was kind of being terrible, but he did really like her.
They loved each other so much. The prom. I can't get into it. I love Saved by the Bell.
Have we ever? I don't think we've ever talked about Saved by the Bell.
No, we haven't. This is crazy.
This is like, I just want you to like walk into a room and like you just see me sitting there with Screech's robot, and you're like, what is this? You're like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm so happy. Right? You're so excited. You're so scared.
And then Tori Spelling was on it. Oh, so many things happened on Saved by the Bell. And then when they were at the fucking beach club, I love those too.
Oh my God, the beach club. Stacey Carosi.
I know.
Come on.
Noted Scientologist, noted former Scientologist.
Noted ex-Scientologist.
Exactly.
She's really running the campaign now against him, because we were all sad when we found out they got Stacey Carosi, but Stacey Carosi left the beach reservation. That's right, mofos. I love her.
Man, I love Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris is terrific. He really, really had great taste in women. That's all I have to say. Except until he got to college. And then I don't know what happened.
Well,
anyway.
His lady came back eventually because the ratings were so bad.
Yeah, and they got married. That's another relationship. Probably not going to go well into adulthood. They got married in marry your high school sweetheart. It's probably, I don't know. I know some people that are married since they knew each other in high school, but it's rare. It's rare.
Any closing thoughts?
Yeah. First of all, we have to say who won this episode, Betty or Veronica?
I think we know the answer.
The Pussycats?
No.
The vigilante Pussycats?
We can't pick Pussycats during the Betty Veronica question. The answer, of course, is Betty.
You think Betty? Well, in terms of a performance, yes. I mean, Lily Reinhart brought it.
Did you like Veronica because she's a pussycat and the Pussycats literally kicked ass in this episode?
Yeah, I mean, she delivered justice, like, straight on to a would-be or former and current rapist. So, yeah, it's definitely that's in the zeitgeist, so it was just really satisfying to see that. I don't feel like Betty won. I feel like Betty was tortured and lot. But then I don't understand why in the end she's like, okay, well, I'm just going to tell everybody now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, because her sister could still be murdered.
But so why didn't she tell everybody in the first?
Tell anybody. I'm going to straight up murder your sister. That's what he said. I'm going to cut the sin out of her. What?
He says he's going to make her into a jack-o'-lantern.
Ugh.
But then she just does go and tell everybody.
She doesn't tell everybody.
Doesn't she just tell everybody at the end?
She tells Archie. She doesn't tell everybody.
She doesn't tell Veronica or anybody else?
No.
Oh. I thought she told her. Okay, great. Well, then she doesn't. And so then the Hood asks her for a name, and he's like, okay, fine. You have to tell me now who I should kill?
Yeah.
And she's like,
she broke the rules, and Archie was helping her. So he's like,
Claire.
Give me somebody to kill. And she's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Nikki St. Clair.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Her turn to do it was that was dark Betty coming home to say hello.
Well, there's two things. First of all, Cheryl's like, I want to see him prosecuted. I want to see him pay. I want to see him suffer. So she really feels for Cheryl, and she really wants Cheryl to have justice. Betty cares a lot about justice. And then Veronica also says, look, I'm 99% sure he's done this before. And I didn't realize it. Or maybe he was using me in some way. So, you know, he's wrong, Betty, and he's wrong, Veronica, too. So Betty's like, fine. You are the... Because who else is she going to say?
I think she likes almost everybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe Cheryl?
No.
Maybe Cheryl's mom?
Cheryl's mom's not that bad. Cheryl's mom's is bad. Cheryl's not bad. Cheryl's
I have a name. I have a name.
Who would you pay?
Sweet Pea.
Oh,
I hate Sweet Pea. More like Sour Pea.
He's fine.
Yo, dude, I don't even like that guy. He's too tall.
You really have it in for tall people. You really have it in for talls.
The people that tall.
What's happening next week on Riverdale?
Can I tell you something that's really exciting? Lily on her Instagram just posted a picture of her black wig.
Uh-oh, Dark Betty.
Which means in some episode coming up soon, things are gonna get fun.
Yeah. So I do think, so this is my theory. I think the Hood is Betty's dad.
Yep.
I think Betty's dad has a dark side just like Betty does. I think he knows Betty has this weird dark side, and he wants to connect their dark sides and like go out and dispense justice. I think there's a weird sexual element to it. They're not saying it, but why is he so obsessed with isolating her and manipulating her and like getting her to play his weird freaky game and then telling everybody else that everybody else is a sinner and everybody else is dirty? Like, it's fucking gross. If it's her dad, that's the grossest thing that I can think of. But I do think it's her dad. So that's my theory.
None of the women in his life are doing what the things that he wants them to do. So this is his way of taking control.
Yeah, that's weird. Oof.
It is weird.
If Archie hadn't helped her this time around, I would have thought maybe it was Betty herself somehow. But he's there when she gets these calls, so I don't think it's in her mind.
Is this like when we were convinced that Spencer should be A, and then I feel like the show, like Marlene listens to our podcast so intently, she was like, how can I make this happen for them? Oh, Spencer has a twin sister this whole time, and Spencer is A, but it's not Spencer. Yeah, we know you're listening.
Like that. And here's another thing that I want for Riverdale while we're talking about it. I want this season of Riverdale to be like the roughest, fucking full of murders and gross dads and weird insinuations and just real like terrible, terrible things. And then I want next season to be like super happy and great. Like I wanted to be like, and then we put it behind us.
Since there's then that would create no conflict. I don't know how the show is going to outdo itself for next year, though.
But that's what I think would be so funny. Like if they were just like, yep, we're going to not have any conflict. And every episode would just be like going down to the malt shop and having a boyfriend who likes you. And, you know, everything's cool and fun. I really would think that that was hilarious. And then everybody would like tune in every week to see what terrible thing was going to happen. It would be like nothing. And then like at the end of the season, I don't know, like whatever, you know, Moose kills 10 people or something.
I really think that I would like to see a half a season at least long plot line of Alice Cooper either running against Robin Givens for the mayor's seat. Thank you. Or
oh my God,
that she ends up becoming like a senator or something. Like she ends up holding like elected political office because she's so fed up with everything. But I do think that I like my first idea better, which is that, and then it has this trickle down effect, right? That causes all this conflict between Josie and Betty, who are two characters we've basically never seen interact.
Yeah.
So and then like you don't know that there's any love for them, but then let's maybe put the situation where their parents are creating problems for them, right? I think that
would be an interesting plot. We'll get to it. First, we got to figure out who this fucking Black Hood is.
Or listen, I'm just writing the third season right now with you, Rose, is that there's like a special election and Alice is all about running against Robin Givens and like starts a campaign. But then on the night when they announce it and you're going to see like, you know, Alice gets up and makes a speech, is somebody else nominates Fred Andrews. And then it's a three-way race. And everybody starts picking sides with who it is. And of course, it has to end with Fred getting elected, right?
Yeah, wow.
And you find out Hiram did the whole thing to get Fred out of the company, because then he has to recuse himself from business interests if he's the mayor of Riverdale. What?
I love how the mayor of Riverdale has to do that, but the president of the United States doesn't. Terrific.
No. Why would the president need to disclose tax returns or financial interests when there's clear conflict of interest with everything financial that he does? It's whatever.
It is definitely whatever. Yes. So I really enjoyed this episode. I will never get over the Pussycats just wailing on that dude. to a Rent song while Josie and Cheryl cuddled in the background. That was really funny.
Do you know what I felt it was?
Like 3 times in this episode. I'm gonna say it again. Yeah, go. What?
I felt like that was the Pussycats' biggest hit. Oh!
I do.
I was gonna make that joke, and you just did it before me.
The thing is too that the Pussycats are not like known for violence. Like you wouldn't say that Valerie. We knew Valerie pretty well, and she doesn't seem violent at all. She seems like a very normal young woman who is happy to be in a band and listen to music and make music and just some chick, right? Like there's no indication that this is like their side gig, but they're like, you don't fuck with our girl Cheryl. They just like, no, man,
She
no.
sang with us on top of a roof. Huh, huh, don't you touch her.
They know Josie loves Cheryl so much. They do. Cheryl and Josie, forever in love. I'm sorry. They have a connection. I don't know what it is, and I will not rest until I find out. All right. Any recommendations, comments, news, thoughts, concerns for the week?
As well, so I went to the reason why because we normally have our meetings on Friday, but I took my dad to see Thor yesterday.
Oh, how was it?
And it was, I'm going to say, it's a lot funnier than you think it is. It's very comedic.
I thought it was funny.
Very slapsticky. So I recommend it. I actually think my dad had a lot more fun. And it's almost, I want to say like cartoony, because it's all in space and it's...
Yeah, sure. It's comic book kind of.
Yeah, it has this very fantastic element. It's like Mark Ruffalo is really funny in it. Like I liked him a lot. It's just I just had a good time watching it. And I also finished this past week Mindhunter on Netflix, which
people really like that.
Yes, and so Jonathan Groff is in it, who was in the HBO Looking show, where he maxed on that Archie's one-time music teacher that we talked about. But it is all about when they invent the term serial killer in the 70s for the FBI. So it's not, there's real people that did this that the characters are based on, but it's obviously a dramatization. And I kept feeling like I knew who the psychologist woman was in the show, and it's Anna Torv, who's the woman who was the lead character on Fringe. And it's almost like she's unrecognizable. Like I completely forgot that was the same person. And she has a very distinct voice and a very distinct look. And the fact that she made me forget she was the Fringe girl, like it talks about how good she is in it. And you find out she's not really as central as Jonathan Groff and even his partner are in the show, but you do find out about halfway through that she's a lesbian.
Oh, yes, I heard about that character. Yeah,
so she is great because she's very smart and she's very uncompromising. And you find out that a woman was behind most of the theory when these guys were doing criminal profiling. But it's interesting to see how they have to argue about why doing this is important. And people are concerned that the show is scary. And there are elements because they're interviewing serial killers and they cast a lot of these unknown actors to play them. So you're very unnerved because you've never seen these people before, and they're very good as the killers. So you believe that they're crazy people when you're watching the show.
Right.
But it's not a scary show. It's more about the bureaucracy of the 1970s FBI and about like how you make an idea into a real thing.
Right.
But it also, just because we have a lot of murdery fans in here, it's David doesn't like watching shows like this, and I would not say it's very fast paced. And he got really into it with me. He really, really liked the show, and I was surprised by that. He kept saying, he was like, "Can we watch it?" And I'm like, "Oh." We finished the second season of Supergirl. And he's so excited because he's like, Callista Flockhart's back. And I'm like, but she's not. I
told you he'd be excited for Callista Flockhart coming back. I was excited. It was such a great way that she re-entered the show. But are you caught up on it this week?
Yep.
Oh, so sad.
Well, you know what? I think that they
No, they did what they had to do. It was
they
what it
could
was.
have handled it very different way,
Yeah.
and they were very mindful and respectful. And I like how it wasn't, you even know what's going to happen, and then it's like they play with you where you think maybe they're gonna.
No.
And they obviously leave it open for her to come back, which I think is eventually going to happen, right?
I hope so. I hope so. I really hope so.
They did say that they're not giving her a love interest for the rest of the year. So the writers have said that, which I think is great. I think that it leaves it open for Maggie to come back in a really great way too. But I thought that because they don't do a lot with the supporting characters sometimes, and this is like the first time you really get into Lena as a character, and she just was great. She really, like, her becoming unhinged at when she gets drunk at the woman's apartment and everything. She's just like, I cannot say, and David won't watch this year of the show until it's done. He wants to watch all of it at once, and I'm like, because he hates week to week TV, and I'm like, you need to watch.
No, it's so
Supergirl
good.
with me. I love it. It's I'm like you. I remember 2 years ago when you told me I needed to start watching it. Now it's like I don't know what my life would be without it. Does that make sense?
Very good. It's very wonderful. There's such a good. I like everybody in it, except Mon-El. He's boring, but whatever. I'll handle it.
Well, he's gone basically, man. He's in the credits. Did you notice that though?
Yeah, you've been pointing that out for weeks, Ryan.
I know you don't like that he's coming back, but
I don't care. It's fine, but I just not my fave. He's fine. It's just like I don't get it.
I wish Terry Hatcher was still in the mix, but that's gone.
I wish Terry Hatcher was everywhere. Oh, speaking of super people, I went to see How Did This Get Made live.
Oh, they came to Boston and the tickets sold out. How was it? What did they talk about?
Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
That's
movie. Terrible movie. Not even fun, just awful and boring and weird. But it was really fun.
Do you want me to do my impression of the Nuclear Man? Are you ready?
So much just grunting and fighting. Like there was no content in the film. But it was a great show. We really had a fun time and good guests. And I was sad June wasn't there, but she did send a message for us. So I was really happy. And I can't wait for it to come out on the, podcast and then see if my shouting is in the background.
She doesn't go to the that's actually a big deterrent for me going, and the fact that I love Jason Mantzoukas, but he calls the audience dummies, and it's like I don't really want to pay that much money to be called a dummy.
Like in real life, to be mean.
I know. He's pretty mean to the audience, though.
He wasn't mean to the audience. He was not mean to the audience. He was nice and fun, and he calls people out on being weirdos and stuff. But it's just good fun. He was not mean to the audience at all.
But she never, because of their babies, she doesn't really go to the city tapings. It's very rare for her to leave.
That's not the issue here. She got a movie in Canada, so she is doing that. So it's just that she had a job. She was going to be there, but because of her work, she was not. But there was another person filling in who was excellent, and then the guest was also super fun. So I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you had fun.
Paul was really fun. It was great. Good show. And I watched Big Mouth a little bit. It was fun.
Oh, do you love Maya Rudolph as the hormone monstress?
Crazy.
How are you, my little ravioli?
It was insane. No, I really liked it, actually. It's pretty sweet. It was very sweet and actually kind of nice, even within the weird puberty stuff. It was a good show.
You have to get into the episode where Jason Mantzoukas is gets his pillow pregnant.
I have not gotten to that one.
A very weird episode. But now that's David's new favorite thing is to go, I'm 40, I'm 40, I'm 41! Which if you watch Big Mouth, you'll get it. It's very funny. But
all right, I will check that out. Anyway, that's it, I guess. Time for the evening to conclude. Anything else?
Yeah, sorry I was so late tonight.
No, it's okay. I was awake. Follow us on Twitter at Pretty Recaps. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. We are Pretty Little Recaps, and we are all over the place. So follow us, subscribe to us, rate and review us. And tell us good stuff about ourselves. That'll be fun. And see us next time. We'll talk about Riverdale again.
Please, and for the love of God, everybody, change your ringtone to lollipop, lollipop. We need to make this a national trend. Hashtag lollipop needs to be going on Twitter. I feel like anytime, like we should try to live tweet the episode sometimes when it's on, or like at least when we're watching. And anytime there's a Black Hood Betty interaction, I want to hashtag it lollipop. That's what I'm going to call it.
Who even gets calls anymore? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, very few people call me. Like, Jen.
It's so funny because David just said the same thing because his boss calls him at the end of every shift, and he was like, "It's 2017. No one calls anyone anymore."
People don't. They just text. And it's like the Black Hood is really old school, which is probably why he's Betty's dad. Next time he's going to be like, oh, like some dumb joke about like a graduated cylinder walks into a bar. All right. It's a good joke.
Good night, everybody.
I'll talk to you. Good night. Have a good weekend.